All right, welcome everybody to the CalCAP Lender webinar. We have a webinar today that we hope is going to be full of useful information for each of you as lenders about each of our programs. We continue to have resounding success and increasing volume in our small business and ARV programs. In calendar year 2017, CalCAP Small Business enrolled a total of 2,224 loans. That includes small business loans enrolled in our federally funded program in the amount of 1,709 loans, and then after the federal funds ran out in the fourth quarter of 2017, another 513 enrolled with our state funds. 339 loans were enrolled for small businesses located in stressed and environmental justice communities. So that amounts to 15% of the loans. Additionally, in CalCAP ARB, we enrolled 3,927 loans. So all of our programs are increasing. We want to thank you all for participating in these programs that help small businesses in California sustain and thrive, including in our stressed and environmental justice communities. I'm Renee Webster Hawkins. I'm the Executive Director of CPCFA, and with me I have many people from the CalCAP team that you are all familiar with that are going to provide key information about all of our programs today. We're going to provide you with the key features of our specialty programs created by the legislature, in addition to our small business and ARV programs that we've long held. In particular, we have specialty programs that are new that help small business communities increase the accessibility of their facilities to all Californians, including those with disabilities. We have a program that encourages building owners to retrofit their buildings to withstand earthquakes. And we have a program to support the state's commitment to zero-emission transportation. As you probably know, the state, including the legislature and other policymakers controlling state funding, are increasingly looking to partner with the private sector to redirect available business capital to these important state policy objectives. So you will hear about changes that we have made and which are further proposed in AB 1547 to increase lender interest and borrower eligibility to our CalCAP ADA program, and we'll also be discussing similar important changes we would like to propose to our seismic safety program. As always, we are interested in hearing from you as participating lenders about how the programs might be improved to meet these states' policy objectives and business needs of the small business community. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the team. I do want to mention, in terms of housekeeping, please use the chat feature as we are moving through the slide deck to ask questions you might have, and we will take them up at the end during our question and answer session. We will also have the opportunity to unmute your phone so you can ask your questions directly during the Q&A session. We will be posting the slide deck on our CalCAP website, at our CPCFA website, after the webinar is concluded, and providing you with all the information here. So you will have the direct access to the slide deck for your reference. So moving on to the agenda for the webinar today, you see it on your screen in front of you now. We're going to go through the administrative updates and regarding our existing programs. We're going to be then providing you the key features of our specialty programs one by one. And then with that, we will take our Q&A. So I don't think I need to read each of the items on the agenda. It's here for you. I think we're going to move right into the materials. So with that, I'll turn it over to Bianca Smith, our CalCAP Program Manager.
Hi. Welcome to all of you. And I'm going to start with an update on the recapture process. As you know, recapture has been introduced as a program sustainability measure in an effort to support future lending to small businesses throughout the state, even without a steady supply of new funding. For the CalCAP specialty programs, the ADA and the seismic safety program, a recapture mechanism was introduced since inception through statute. For the existing programs for the small business and the ARB program, we have modeled the recapture after the ADA program and after an intense input and collaboration with the lenders. As a reminder, the recapture is a voluntary measure. It is only applicable to lenders that are a firm participation in the recapture and wanted to enroll loans after August 15, 2017. For lenders who decided not to opt in, the funds accumulated in their loan loss reserve accounts are available for claim reimbursements until all the loans are matured or no funds remain in the loan loss reserve account. Recapture was introduced as a 5-year step down to a minimum 10% threshold mechanism. The first recapture year, 2017, will leave no less than 15% of a lender's outstanding principal balance of loans enrolled in the previous 5 years in the loan loss reserve account. The following year, the threshold will drop to 14% and so on until 2022. The threshold of 10% will be maintained going forward. Funds recycled through recapture from CalCAP for small business and ARB are dedicated for future use for each specific program. Currently, we have 15 active lenders in the CalCAP for Small Business program and 19 active lenders in the CalCAP ARB program. These lenders have received their letters regarding the 2017 recapture amount. From these active lenders, the recapture amount of funds that will be returned to the small business program is approximately $2.9 million. That includes state and federal contribution, and $6.1 million to the ARB program. We're moving on to the next slide, and we're going to talk about the change in loan terms. I know we had some confusion about the change in term reporting, and so I will try to make it simple. The change in terms is defined as the process to report any change in material terms of an enrolled loan, and it requires the lender to notify us within 15 business days of any changes to these terms so that we can update our records associated with the loan for monitoring and oversight, and also to determine whether the changes affect the eligibility of the originally enrolled loan. So any material change is considered, whether it's interest rate, the names of the borrower, the total loan amount, the maturity date, anything that changes the term is a change in term. And to keep it simple, you must submit, if only the interest rate has changed, then you as the lender must submit a change in term form only. If anything else other than the interest rate has changed, you as the lender must submit the following documents: the change in term form, which can be found on our website, along with the rest of the forms that you still need to submit, which is an amended loan enrollment application, a new lender certification, and the new borrower certification. And please keep in mind that all these forms must be signed, dated, and initialed accordingly. And this brings us to the most encountered change in terms, the maturity date. So the forms mentioned before, all 4 of them, the amended loan enrollment application, the new lender and borrower certification, and the change in term form itself, have to be submitted within 15 business days, and we can only authorize one single extension of the maturity date for up to 6 months. In addition to this, we must receive from each lender a written certification that such extension is part of its credit policy. This written certification will be placed in the lender's file, and as such needs to be submitted one time only. Just as a reminder, anything else outside this one-time maximum 6 months extension of the maturity date will be subject to the rules and restrictions of each program. Okay, I think we can move on to the next slide. We got this one. And it's just a reminder about the quarterly report that needs to be submitted. The third quarter for fiscal year 17-18 report is due on April 15th. That's tax day, so no excuse to forget. Please make sure that all the required data is reported correctly and any recoveries for defaulted claims are recorded. Any pending claims and any portfolio sales are reported on the spreadsheet we provided. You can find this report, the Excel spreadsheet, on our webpage if you do not already have it. Also, I want to inform you all, and I hope you all, especially the new lenders or the lenders who had turnovers in their teams, are taking advantage of the training we offer. Whether this is a first-time training or a refresher training, we would really encourage you to take advantage of it so that you can master all the nuances of the CalCAP program. Our staff is always available and happy to help. Please email us or call us, and our analysts will be happy to schedule a convenient time for you for training. And with this, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Doreen Smith.
Good morning. I'm going to give you a brief update about the CalCAP Small Business Program. As you know, the allocation agreement with the U.S. Treasury expired a year ago on March 31st, 2017. And since that time, the federal funds have been exhausted, and the small business loans are currently being funded with state funds. So since CalCAP is funding the loans with the state funds, lenders must deposit borrower and lender fees into their CalCAP State Loan Loss Reserve account. CalCAP contribution will match the lender's fee for these small business loans. So a reminder is to go ahead and deposit in your State Loan Loss Reserve account. And now Christina will provide ARB program updates.
Good morning, everyone. For CalCAP card program, there are exciting updates. A CalCAP card borrower's webpage is in the works and will be launching soon. The webpage will be accessible via our CalCAP card homepage, and it will provide information and resources for truck drivers and owners who are in need of financial assistance in purchasing a compliant truck. As mentioned earlier, this website will be launching soon. We will be sending an email to stakeholders to announce the exciting news when the website is up and running. Please note that this year, CPCFA will be conducting CalCAP card site visits and desk audits to ensure that card enrolled loans and participating lenders are in compliance with CalCAP card rules and guidelines that are outlined in our interagency agreement with CARB and the CalCAP regulations sections 8078.22 through 8078.28. We will inform and coordinate with the lenders ahead of time the exact dates and the documents required for our review. Another exciting news to add to the updates for CalCAP card program is that the interagency agreement with CARB for fiscal year 2017-2018 has been amended, and an additional $20 million has been added to the program. The additional funding will provide additional financial assistance to owners and drivers affected by CARB's truck and bus rules. As a reminder, electrical vehicles are also eligible for enrollment in the CalCAP card program, along with the trucks using 2007 and newer model year engines. The engine can use diesel fuel, compressed natural gas, liquefied natural gas, or other fuels. Although it is still possible to finance a vehicle with its 2007 to 2009 model year engine, CARB has informed us that according to the truck and bus regulation, to be compliant, vehicles would need an engine upgrade to 2010 or newer engine after January 1st, 2023. While the deadline appears to be far away, we all know how fast time passes. So we wanted to give lenders a heads up so they can address their underwriting accordingly. We will be talking more about any future eligibility changes as deadline approaches. We have sent out an email last week informing stakeholders about the CARB One-Stop Truck event in Bakersfield on April 17th. CARB One-Stop Truck events are a great tool for lenders to market their financial institution for potential clients who are looking into buying a compliant truck or retrofitting a filter. For more information on how to request a booth at the Bakersfield One-Stop event, please send us an email at calcap@treasurer.ca.gov. And moving on to Lisa.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Johnson. I'm an analyst with CalCAP, and I primarily handle the ARB enrollments. And I'd like to go over a few tips for completing our CARB loan enrollment application to avoid some common errors and omissions. Tip number 1 would be definitely use our Tools for Lenders webpage. This is there for you to help you along the way. It will also provide you great tools to complete our application. The web address and a few of the links that are highlighted on the screenshot you see, which they are, and then by all means, if there's something that you think that might be helpful to add to the page, please let us know so that we can update it. Tip number 2, on the enrollment application and throughout the application or the enrollment documents, it's important to be consistent with the borrower name or names, the DBA, and the address information. And you'll see the arrows and the highlights on your screen. So on your screen are a screenshot of the enrollment application and the borrower cert. The information here needs to be consistent on both forms. If it's inconsistent from the enrollment to the borrower cert, it will be kicked back, resulting in you potentially chasing a borrower down for initials. Specific to the business or individual names, if their name is on the loan, we need either all signatures or printed names, titles on one borrower cert or separate borrower certifications from each signer. There can be only one business name and it must be consistent. Specific to the address, there can be only one business address. Therefore, if need be, multiple borrowers on one loan must agree on the business address to be used throughout the application. Tip number 3, census tract. All census tract entries should include the state code, the county code, and tract code, a total of 11 digits. This code needs to be based on the physical location of the business. The geocode website link referenced on the application, which is shown with a blue arrow on your screen and is also noted to the side, will provide all of the information. You can also use the Tools for Lenders webpage link for the census tract information also. And in the event you cannot find the location, please provide a Google map of the borrower's business location so we can research it further. Tip number 4, on the borrower cert, page 1. On page 1, items D, E, and F located to the bottom of page 1 on the cert and as shown on your screen, initials are only needed if the borrower has received a CARB grant or are approved for a voucher. You will only select the lines applicable to the borrower situation, which is typically not all 3 lines. Tip number 5. Some reminders for completing the page 3 of the borrower cert. Make sure the borrowers enter the fleet size, which means the number of vehicles 14,000 plus GVWR prior to this purchase. Also ensure the borrower enters the GVWR or gross vehicle weight rating of the truck, as these boxes are sometimes missed. These boxes are located right above the area where the truck engine details are to be provided and are shown with blue arrows on your screen. Not mentioned on the slide, but for the new use sections, please verify with your borrower the engine year, as it's almost always 1 year behind the year of the truck. And then next on your screen is the replaced truck. For the replaced section where you see the 4 blue arrows, this section is only required if any grants or vouchers were received. And lastly, on page 3 at the bottom where the borrower sign, please remember we require their title, the owner's title, as it relates to the business, which would be like your CEO, owner, sole proprietor, etc. And this field's located directly across from where the borrower's printed name is and is shown by the bottom arrow on your screen. Tip number 6, last tip. Upon completion of this packet, please PDF it to the CalCAP email inbox in the following order. 1, the enrollment application, next lender cert, next borrower cert, followed by the DocuSign certificate if that's applicable, then the NAICS verification, and followed by a Google Maps if you're unable to obtain the census tract information. I've also listed below some helpful CalCAP CARB links with more information on your own webpage or on our webpage for your convenience. Excuse me. And with this, please contact me or any of our analysts with any questions. Definitely take advantage of our CalCAP training we offer, and thank you for your time.
My name is Lauren Ross, and I am the Collateral Support Analyst, and today I will be going over current updates of the Collateral Support Program. Starting tomorrow, April 4th, the minimum closing fees for all collateral support requests will be increased to $1,000. The increase in closing fees improves the sustainability of the Collateral Support Program by reasonably recovering the cost of administering the program. Currently, for collateral support loans in default, the lender must submit a status update of the loan every 6 months. But starting tomorrow, April 4th, lenders will be now required to provide in each quarterly report a short report of the status of the loan, including a short narrative of the loan collection history and the status of the attempt to work out the default, including the sale of the proceeds or attempts to liquidate collateral for all collateral support loans in default. Instructions for collateral support default reporting can be found on the Collateral Support website in the Collateral Support Lender Manual listed here on this slide. And just a friendly reminder that annual fees are required for each collateral support line of credit enrollment. Annual fees are calculated at 1% of the general support and are due on the anniversary date of the date of disbursement and or the date of loan. If a lender would like to renew the collateral support for a line of credit, a new collateral support request notating a renewal on the request must be received prior to the annual anniversary date, along with a short summary of the transaction, an updated risk assessment, and proof of the annual fees being paid and deposited into the collateral support account for the line of credit. And last but not least, all loan documents associated with loans enrolled in the Collateral Support Program are required to be retained for 3 years after the maturity date of the loan or 3 years after the ending of the collateral support, whichever is later. And now I will turn it over to Bianca.
Hello again. We're going to talk a little bit about the CalCAP ADA program, which is a great program and was intended to assist small businesses with financing the costs to alter or retrofit existing facilities to comply with the requirements of the Federal Americans with Disabilities Act. The CalCAP ADA program has been implemented since August 9, 2016, and to date, no loans have been enrolled yet, and we only have 3 participating lenders. I want to go a little bit over the CalCAP ADA key features, and I think it's on the next slide. But the maximum enrolled loan amount is $50,000 with a loan loss coverage of 5 years. And for this specialty program, the lenders and borrowers contribute between 2 and 3.5% to a loan loss reserve account. The lender and the borrower can decide which percentage they want to apply. The borrower fee matches the lender's fee, and CalCAP CPCFA will contribute 4 times the lender's fee to the loan loss reserve account, and an additional amount equal to the lender's contribution to the lender's fee for businesses located, if the business is located in a severely affected community. An additional feature of this program has been introduced in last year, 2017, and it allows CPCFA to reimburse the small business owner for the cost of the CASP report. Upon enrollment in the ADA program, the borrower may be reimbursed for an amount equal to up to 5% of the CalCAP enrolled loan amount, and this will help the borrower to pay for the cost of the CASP report. The reimbursement for the cost will hopefully incentivize participation in the program and compliance with ADA. The regular rulemaking package for the CalCAP ADA program has been published by the Office of Administrative Law last month on March 23rd, 2018, and thereby the 40-day public comment period was open. This public comment period will end on May 7th, 2018. We are really eager to receive feedback from the lenders on this program, and we encourage you to engage in discussions with us on how to right-size the program to make it more enticing for small businesses and lenders alike. We are actively engaged in discussions with the Certified Access Specialist Institute to coordinate marketing for the program, and we're also engaged with the legislatures to make additional changes to the program. Currently, Assembly Bill 1547 proposes to increase the number of employees for program eligibility from 15 full-time employees to 30. And now would be a really good time to engage in any discussions regarding changes that this program can benefit from. And with this, I'm going to hand it over to Jason.
Good morning. My name is Jason Bradley. I'm the Program Manager of the CalCAP EVCS Financing Program. Today, I'm going to give you a brief overview of the Electric Vehicle and Charging Station Directives from Governor Brown, talk about how the EVCS Financing Program was designed to assist California in reaching those goals outlined in those directives, and lastly, I'll be seeking recommendations on how the program can better address the charging station needs of the small business community. In January 2018, Governor Brown signed an executive order mandating all state agencies work with the private sector to spur the construction of enough electric vehicle charging stations to support 5 million zero-emission vehicles by 2030. Going back to 2012, the governor set the goal at 1.5 million zero-emission vehicles by 2025. So this new executive order is even more audacious. Now, let's talk about the charging station gap. The California Energy Commission conducted an analysis to determine how many charging stations are needed and how much will it cost to meet California's goals. The Energy Commission determined that there's a significant gap in terms of the number of charging stations and the dollars needed to close this gap. The analysis showed that the state needs a contribution of $2.6 billion of public and private investment to close the gap. And today, there's an estimated 14,000 charging stations in California. And to get to where we need to be, the state needs an estimated 344,000 charging stations at or near apartments, workplaces, and public locations. The Energy Commission identified the need for private investment in the charging station installation industry. Therefore, they partnered with CPCFA to establish the CalCAP EVCS financing program. The program was established in 2015 to assist small businesses interested in installing charging stations at their place of business. Some key features of the program are that each borrower can enroll a loan of up to $500,000. The total gross annual revenue for a small business is not applicable in this program. But the small business must have 1,000 or fewer employees and can have loan loss reserve coverage for up to 48 months. It's important to note for this program that this program does not require a lender or a borrower fee. All contributions are made by CPCFA, by the program. Each loan enrolled in the program will receive a 20% base contribution, and if the loan supports a charging station installation in a severely affected community or in a multi-unit dwelling, the loan receives an additional 10% contribution. This program also has a small business rebate feature, which gives the small business a rebate of up to 15% of the loan amount when the loan is paid off or after 48 months. So the infrastructure gap that I mentioned earlier in this presentation is poised to broaden as the public and private sector are striving to expand electric vehicle awareness and making efforts to demonstrate that electric vehicles are affordable and attractive options. Another pressure to take note of is that car manufacturers are making a significant commitment to the electrification of their vehicles. Now, today, there's 42 electric vehicle models on the market, and that number is set to triple over the next 3 years. So recognizing that closing the charging station gap will take a collaborative effort between the public and private sector, I'm looking to you, our CalCAP lenders, for feedback and recommendations on how we close this gap and how we increase the participation in the CalCAP EVCS program. Specifically, I want to know what data or assistance do you or your clients need to expand your charging station lending portfolio, and how can the EVCS financing program support charging station lending in the small business communities that you serve? Please feel free to type your feedback or recommendations in the comment section, and we'll address them during the question and answer sections, or you can leave your contact information and I can give you a call after this webinar. I would like to thank you for your time, and now I'm going to pass it on to Elena, and she's going to talk about the CalCAP Seismic Safety Program.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Elena Miller, and I'm the Deputy Executive Director for CPCFA. I'd like to give you quickly some background about the Seismic Safety Program. It's been open for business since January of 2017. There have been no loans enrolled, and we currently have one lender, Pacific Enterprise Bank. Since 2017, CPCFA and the CalCAP team have been traveling and doing extensive research statewide to local governments, particularly cities that currently have mandatory retrofit ordinances, such as the City of Los Angeles, as well as structural engineering organizations and chief building officials, to both get the word out about the program, but also to take feedback, thoughts, and concerns from those stakeholders on potential ways that we might be able to improve the program. We also have updated the website, so if you're hearing about this or becoming aware about this program for the first time today, please look at the website. You may note that we have specific information there for borrowers, and that certainly can be of use to the lenders should you have potential borrowers come in and ask for lending, particular to retrofitting buildings for seismic retrofits. The first slide highlights the elements of this program. We designed the program with generous contributions with rates particular to the period of loan enrollment. The maximum loan enrolled amount for this program is $250,000, recognizing that a loan may need to be more than that amount, but the loan enrollment in CalCAP's program maxes out at that figure, $250,000. This is a program that's open to residential property owners as well as small businesses owning commercial property and or residential property. But as is the case with some of our other programs, there is a maximum number of employees in the event that the borrower is a small business, and that number is 500 full-time employees. This program was designed to enhance contributions if the loans are enrolled for 60 months or less. The maximum loan enrollment is 120 months or 10 years. The lender fee is set at 2 to 3.5%. The lender chooses their fee, and the borrower's fee is matching for the lender fee. The contributions that I discussed or mentioned were generous. If the loan is enrolled for 60 months or less, the CPCFA contribution, and there's an error there, it says CalCAP ADA, it should say CalCAP Seismic Safety, is 4 times the lender fee. And if it's over the 5-year amount, up to 120 months, it's 3 times. If the property is in a severely affected community, there is an additional contribution of 2 times the lender fee if 5-year or less for loan enrollment, or equal to lender fee if above the 5 years. Some additional features, again, I've mentioned the 60-month or less enhancement, and residential or commercial building owners. This is the only program we have that is specifically available for residential. This program requires certification from local building code officials, and I'll talk about that on the next slide a little bit more in depth. And this program does have a recapture feature, and the amounts are on an annual basis when enrolled loans mature or after 60 months or 120 months from the date of enrollment. Next slide, please. This slide highlights both our challenges with the new program and also some generous contribution opportunities, which I keep plugging, but they are there, and they are quite interesting in terms of the book of CalCAP programs that we have. We certainly want to hear from more lenders on these points. There have been concerns expressed by some potential lenders as well as local government building officials on a couple of features of the program which came to us in the original statute. The first of particular concern for local government is that the building must be certified to be in danger of collapse. In the cities where there are currently mandatory retrofit programs, property owners are receiving letters requiring that the buildings be retrofitted in a particular period of time. Those letters are an important component to certifying, but there are places in the state of California where local governments don't have such ordinances. And so we are working and listening to structural engineers and particularly to chief building officials on how the statute might need to be improved on that point. The second item of concern that lenders have brought to our attention is occupancy requirement. This is defined in statute. There are 2 particular defined terms: qualified small business, which means a business that is owned and occupied or intends to occupy a qualified building, and also qualified residential property owner, which means the owner is either an owner and occupant of a residential building or a qualified small business that owns the building. And this includes multi-unit housing. We are currently working on these elements, taking feedback, thoughts, and we are hoping to be able to address them. If you have any particular suggestions, please contact us by contacting CalCAP directly by email or phone. We are in a period of time right now where we very much want to hear from stakeholders, and we will keep everybody in tune to progress that we hope will be made on addressing these items. And that's all I have. Question and answer session. All right,
So we're going to start the question and answer session. So feel free to type your questions in, and we'll try to answer as much as we can.
So as we mentioned at the beginning of the webinar today, you can either submit your questions through the chat feature, or we can also attempt to unmute you if you've raised your hand. So we currently, do we have any people raising their hands at this point? No? Okay. So there was a question about revolving lines of credit. Now, as you recall, the slide that we addressed the lines of credit applies only to the collateral support program as distinguished from our CalCAP small business program. So I want to preface our remarks to make sure that everyone understands that what we're speaking about is only loans that are enrolled in the collateral support program. So the question is, how should revolving lines of credit that mature annually be handled? Do they require an entire new enrollment and fee paid each year in order to remain enrolled? We receive applications structured in a number of different ways. Some propose a line of credit that exceeds 1 year. Some propose a line of credit that is limited to 1 year but subject to renewal based on the lender's approval of that renewal to the borrower. Sometimes we receive, in connection with these enrollments, a credit assessment that's limited to 1 year. Sometimes the credit assessment addresses a number of years of projections of revenues and the like. So the answer is it depends. It depends on how you as a lender have initially underwritten and approved the loan to your borrower. If what you have done with your borrower is limited the enrollment of the line of credit to 1 year subject to your renewal of the line of credit based on the borrower's payment history, then you would need to, in turn, apply to us, subject to the procedure that we outlined on the slide, which is to submit an amended loan enrollment that clearly indicates that it's a renewal. So you would need to provide the renewal loan application and the new annual fee deposited into the collateral support account prior to the anniversary date. There's a question about the seismic safety program. Is there a list or a report of all of the buildings that are in danger of collapse during a catastrophic event? A central list. Elena, would you like to address this question?
I'd be happy to. The answer is it depends on the local government. I can tell you that the cities of San Francisco and Los Angeles both began the mandatory retrofit programs for soft story buildings, and both cities, their local governments, decided to provide the list on their web pages of the actual buildings, the addresses, in those particular cities, Los Angeles and San Francisco. I know that Santa Monica has a mandatory ordinance as well. I don't know if that city has provided the list of properties. The city of West Hollywood has a program as well, and that city stands out as the city, I think the only city that I'm aware of, that specifically will not provide the list of properties by address to the public. And I know that through local media, and that there has been concern expressed by the community of building officials statewide for the safety of the residents in those locations, who themselves wouldn't know, for example, that they're residing in a building that has been deemed in need of seismic retrofit. So that's a long answer. The short answer is it depends on what local government has decided.
All right, thank you, Elena. We have a question about the ARB program. How long is the CalCAP ARB funding projected to last? It's great to hear about the new funding. Well, with any of our programs, obviously the funding lasts as long as or as short as the volume of loans being enrolled in the program. We do have new funding that's been added to the program from ARB. They do consider their air quality improvement plan funding every year, and our partners at ARB are highly committed to this program, so we anticipate new funding each year. That said, the new funding is premised on the assumption that the demand for cleaner heavy-duty trucks is only going to increase. It's going to increase because of the robust shipping and transportation economy in California. It's also going to increase because of increasing requirements associated with air quality emissions under CARB's statewide truck and bus rule. And as indicated, there will be some new requirements kicking in 2020 as well as in 2023. And it's anticipation of those heightened requirements that we would suspect that truckers will need to upgrade their rigs in order to remain compliant. Another market factor is, as you know, ARB has recently clarified that all fuels that meet the emissions criteria under ARB's statewide truck and bus rule are qualified. This means that compressed natural gas vehicles are eligible. We also want to clarify that zero emission vehicles are eligible as well and are anticipated to be available in the market in the coming 2 or 3 years. Those technologies usually carry a higher price tag because they are new and the newer technologies. So it's in anticipation of all of those market dynamics that we're expecting the expenditure rate to continue to increase in ARB. But that said, as I indicated, ARB is very committed to this program as a primary incentive to keep the heavy-duty trucking industry thriving in California. The next question, do we have a breakdown as to how many on-road truck loans were made in the last couple of years? So the statistics that I shared at the outset were indeed for 2017, and to recap that, in calendar year 2017, we enrolled loans, 3,927 loans, and let's see if I have, I'm looking quickly. I don't have at my fingertips the number of trucks that amounts to. Typically, most of our loans are for 1 truck apiece, although we do occasionally enroll loans for more than 1 truck. But we did enroll the 3,900 loans. Prior to that, in 2016, we enrolled 2,800 loans, 2,834. So we increased by 1,100 the number of loans from 2015 to 2016. It's been increasing since the program inception of 2009. So that is certainly the trend. And we have this data available anytime that you're interested, and you can ask your analyst to provide this data for you if you like. I'll also recommend you to the CPCFA website. Our annual reports for CalCAP include all of the loan enrollments and loan activities by year. So that data is always readily accessible to you on our website. At this point, that's the last question we have, I believe. Let's see. Yep, that's the last question we have in our chat feature. Now is your chance to raise your hand. And Lauren is driving the truck, so to speak. So she's looking for hands being raised.
Looks like we have Chris, but he's not on the microphone.
So it looks like we have a hand raised from Chris Lerma, but he doesn't appear to be on a microphone. So we're having trouble activating you, Chris, if you're still on the line and want to include your question in the chat feature, we'll address it. Otherwise, please call us or email us when the webinar is ended, and we will address your question. Sorry for the technical issue here. You don't seem to be able to connect to your microphone. All right, we don't have any other hands up. We don't have any other questions coming in the chat feature. So we've kept you under an hour, and we're respectful of your time. We, again, truly appreciate your participation for the lenders that have been with us a long time. For those of you that have newer loan officers and loan analysts, we hope that they've been able to participate. If not, the slide deck and recording of this presentation will be on our website as soon as we get that processed. So, so please encourage any of your colleagues that were not able to make it this morning to tune in to our website to catch up on the program information. And lastly, one more plug. If any of you have any good ideas that we can take to the legislature to modify our newer programs, please let us know, because we truly want to make these programs make sense for your portfolios, as well as increase the incentive for borrowers to engage in these activities that are critical to the California economy, to the sustainability of the small business sector, and for climate resilience as well. So thank you all very much. And with that, we will sign off.